Ave Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus summoned the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2, and gave them authority over unclean spirits. He instructed them to take nothing for the journey but a walking stick, no food, no sack, no money in their belts. They were, however, to wear sandals, but not a second tunic. He said to them, "Wherever you enter a house, stay there until you leave from there. Whatever place does not welcome you or listen to you, leave there and shake the dust off your feet in testimony against them." So they went off and preached repentance. The 12 drove out many demons, and they anointed with oil those who were many who were sick, and cured them. The Gospel of the Lord. Did you ever do something going out of your way for someone, and it wasn't even a thank you? You can see that the disciples received this kind of treatment, the apostles. They were sent out, and it says that, it mentions, if they don't listen to you, shake the dust off your feet. In other words, they weren't always treated well for healing people. And the climax of that, for today, you can see with Saint Blaise, a martyr. God told him to escape persecution. And so he went to a cave, and animals came to him for healing. They were drawn there to that cave, and he healed animals. Finally, Roman soldiers found him and imprisoned him. While he was in prison, a woman brought him her child, who was choking to death on a fish bone. He blessed the child. He didn't give the child the Heimlich maneuver. He blessed the child. And the bone was dislodged. And the child was free. Now that woman was very grateful. And someone else who was very, very grateful to him would bring him candles so that his cell could have light and heat in it. Hence the tradition of the candles that we use. But yet, St. Blaise is martyred for doing the right thing and the good thing, for doing the charitable thing, and for laying down his life for those who came to him, like him, Jesus. When the 12 went out and they were ill-treated, they didn't realize it, but they were in training to be treated like Jesus. When St. Blaise took on the mitre to be a bishop, he didn't realize it at the time, but he was in training to be like Jesus. I'm not saying this to prophesy doom and gloom for us. But what I am saying is, when we do good, when we do the right thing, and especially when we act as proper Catholics, we will get some kickback. And if it happens, we're like Jesus. In the end, St. Blaise won. He's a canonized saint. Who wants one of those? If you didn't raise your hand about wanting to be a saint, you really better start praying hard now. And the apostles, all saints. But this is not necessarily doom and gloom. It's a reality. In the book of Sirach, it says, in the world you'll have trouble. And the gospel says the same thing in so many words. And so, as Catholics, we do the right thing. Solomon, in our first reading, was counseled by his father David to really pay attention to the commandments and do the right thing. He wasn't so good at that. And when you read and through the book of Kings, you find out that, well, Solomon had issues. And because he wasn't able to stay faithful to the Lord, many, many things crumbled around him and fell apart. And that kind of crumbling and falling apart is different from the type of pain and suffering we go through because we did the right thing. At that point, we become like Jesus. We become a vision, a physical vision of Jesus ministering to people, even through suffering. This is the stuff that gets us to heaven. I wouldn't recommend looking for suffering or imposing suffering on yourself. I wouldn't recommend that. But I will say this. In the course of every day, we run into things that give us pain, and we have to make a decision whether or not we want to love or to hate. We make a decision on whether we want to do what God asks us to and act like one of his dear children. Act like Jesus, even if it means the cross.
Regina Celi, letare, Alleluia.